Welcome everybody. This is Mrs. Abdul for another video. This one is focusing on note-taking 101. This is a great quote. No man should escape our universities without knowing how little he knows. And so we need to take notes, right? We need to write things down. We need to remember them for later. So this was a great lead into note-taking. So the objective is to listen to a variety of strategies to use to enhance how I take notes and decide on which one is useful for any class that you take and any opportunity in the future of taking notes. There's a really great video by College Info Geek, and I'm not going to play it now, but this is a really great thing to stop and watch to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that we're going to discuss here in the slideshow. So the first kind of note-taking is outlining, and you'll see an example on the right-hand side where you have your main subject points in an alpha list or a numeric list, then you have your subheadings and information tucked underneath. You're going to leave spaces in between those, and then you are going to make sure that you have written everything down as much as you possibly can in this outline. Notice that a lot of the times teachers are asking you to create outlines if you're reading a paper or reading an outline. So it gives you a lot of really great ways to take an article or a chapter from the top to the bottom and include. But it's language heavy, so you're doing a lot of writing when you're doing this. The next one is Cornell Notes, where you have your cues on the left-hand side, you have your notes on the right, and then you put a summary at the bottom. This is one of those places where if you've learned the Cornell Notes method from classes that you've been in and it works well for you, continue to do that. But anybody can take a piece of paper or a notebook and create these two lines to be able to create your Cornell Notes. Then you've got your cues and summary, and you can do this handwritten, whereas the outline you can do typed or handwritten and easily identify these three sections. The next is mind mapping. For some of you that are more visual learners, you might already be doing this and think that it's abnormal. This is just the kind of thing that your brain uses, is a visual cue. So you can take your main topic, and we know these as graphic organizers, right? So you can take your main topic in the center, and then you've got your subheadings or topics that are connected. Sometimes things might be interconnected, but you can kind of see that in that web or that graphic organizer. There are great tech tools if you want to use tech tools, but again, a paper and a pencil or a pen does the same thing. And if you want to take a step back, that last bullet includes the fact that this kind of mind mapping is good for a global perspective on a topic. You can step back from it and almost see a visual representation. How many subheadings and bubbles do you have off of the main topic? Is there a lot to cover? This also is one of those places where if you're creating an outline for a paper, this is another way you can do that as well, instead of just simply taking notes. And then the second to last one is sketchnoting. It's also sometimes known as the boxing method, and it's another visual way to do this. I personally have no skills, and so I feel like I'm just writing more words than I am actually drawing or making any connections. But you'll notice that the main topic is somewhere in the center, and there's a lot of interconnected illustrations and boxes to have a flow for the information that's coming. It's asking things like why and what for and who, and using some of that drawing technique. And again, sketchnoting is for a very visual heavy kind of person who thinks in pictures. There are apps that allow you to use, and again, you can do this by using a paper and pen or pencil. And then this last one is bullet journaling. A lot of people do this to keep themselves organized for agendas or preparing for something. This is just another one, and this is like the after note-taking effect. You can take an outline or you can take a mind map, and then you can create some bullet journals where you're using a bunch of different colors and different fonts, and you're making sure that the information is thoughtful and specific. I know the minute it kind of goes from my brain to my hand into the pen on the paper, I have this visual spatial memory to remember something later on. And the art and the time that it takes to create a bullet journal might be the kind of information kind of dumping that you need in order to remember topics for taking a test, for preparing for a research paper, to really distill what's important and not. And you could do the same thing using a bullet journal after posting a book if you're using a textbook or reading an article. So bullet journaling, again, kind of like a post note taking, because it takes a lot of kind of intricate work to create a bullet journal. So think about what are the kinds of note taking that worked for you, or that you saw that you were kind of intrigued about. What kind of learner are you? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a visual learner? Do you like to manipulate things? And what technology do you have? I mean, if you have a paper and pen, it's a lot different than if you had your Chromebook in front of you taking notes. How do you review for a test? Do you want to write it onto a bunch of note cards? There's so many different ways, but I wanted to present to you this topic so that you can create a way and a system that works for every kind of research paper or any kind of lecture that you're in to be able to capture the information that you need. If you have any questions, you can contact me in the library. This is Mrs. Abdul, and you can find me online, albanyfalconlibrary.weebly.com.